What would you do if a voice on the radio described your death 3 days before it happened? In 2003, a small radio station in the flatlands of West Texas became the center of something that, to this day, has never been adequately explained. Not by the FCC. Not by local law enforcement. Not by the people who lived through it. Over the span of 11 weeks, a series of pre-recorded broadcasts appeared on a frequency that didn't belong to anyone, narrating events in a town of fewer than 4,000 people. Events that hadn't occurred yet. Events that, one by one, came true. And when the final broadcast described the death, and that death happened exactly as the voice had laid it out, everything stopped. The tapes were never traced. The investigation was quietly shelved. And the people of Hargrove, Texas, were left with a silence that was somehow worse than the broadcasts themselves. This is the story they were never supposed to hear. Hargrove sits about 90 miles southwest of Lubbock, in a stretch of Texas where the land is so flat you can watch your dog run away for 3 days. It's the kind of town that exists between other places, a cluster of gas stations, churches, a feed store, and a single blinking traffic light. In 2003, it had a population of roughly 3,800. It had one newspaper, published bi-weekly. And it had one radio station, KHRV 98.1 FM, a low-power community broadcaster that ran a mix of country music, local weather, high school football coverage, and Sunday sermons. KHRV operated out of a converted trailer behind the Hargrove Municipal Building. It had a broadcast range of about 15 miles. Its staff consisted of 3 people, station manager Dale Whitfield, part-time DJ and local teacher Connie Alvarez, and a weekend volunteer named Pete Stokes who mostly ran the board during football games. The station had been on the air since 1987 and had never, in 16 years, experienced anything out of the ordinary. That changed on the morning of March 14, 2003. Dale Whitfield arrived at the station around 5:45 a.m., as he always did, to prep for the 6 a.m. sign-on. When he powered up the equipment and began his frequency check, he noticed something strange. There was audio bleeding onto 94.3 FM, a frequency that, according to FCC records, was unassigned in the Hargrove area. Not just static or atmospheric noise. A voice. Clear, measured, calm. Speaking in complete sentences. Narrating what sounded like local events. Whitfield described it later as sounding like someone reading from a script, no emotion, no music, no station identification. Just a flat male voice describing things that hadn't happened yet. The first broadcast lasted approximately 4 minutes and 12 seconds. In it, the voice described a water main break on Collier Street, flooding the basement of the First Methodist Church and destroying a collection of archived photographs dating back to the 1940s. The voice gave the date it would happen, March 17. It gave the time, just after 2 a.m. It named the street. It named the church. Dale Whitfield recorded what he could on a cassette deck. He mentioned it to Connie Alvarez. She told him it was probably a skip signal from another station, maybe a radio drama bouncing off the ionosphere. He agreed that was probably the case. On March 17, at approximately 2:15 a.m., a water main ruptured on Collier Street. The basement of the First Methodist Church flooded. A collection of historical photographs, stored in cardboard boxes on the basement floor, was destroyed. The Hargrove Dispatch ran the story on March 19. It was treated as an unfortunate but unremarkable municipal failure. But Dale Whitfield didn't think it was unremarkable. He started monitoring 94.3 every morning before sign-on. And the voice came back. Here is where the story becomes deeply unsettling, because the broadcasts didn't just predict one event. Over the next several weeks, the voice appeared on 94.3 FM a total of 9 times. Each broadcast followed the same format, no introduction, no music, no sign-off. Just the voice, describing a future event in Hargrove with specific details, dates, times, locations, and in several cases, names. The 5 events that were independently verified are as follows. First, the water main break on March 17, predicted 3 days prior. Second, a 2-vehicle collision at the intersection of Route 83 and Farm Road 1112 on March 29, predicted on March 25. The voice named the intersection and described one of the vehicles as a white Chevrolet flatbed. Witnesses confirmed the description. Third, a fire at an unoccupied grain storage building on the Delacroix property, April 4, predicted on April 1. The cause of the fire was never determined. Fourth, the resignation of Hargrove's town clerk, Marianne Soto, on April 11, predicted on April 7. The voice stated she would resign due to a personal matter. She did. And fifth, the one that ended everything, the death of a man named Russell Boyette on May 19, predicted on May 14. 3 witnesses corroborated hearing at least one of these broadcasts. Dale Whitfield had partial recordings of 4 of them. Connie Alvarez heard 2 in person. A local ham radio operator named Gerald Fenn picked up fragments of a third while scanning frequencies from his home setup. All 3 described the same thing, a male voice, no identifiable accent, speaking with an almost clinical detachment. Now, let me address what you're probably thinking. Could this have been a hoax? Could someone with basic radio equipment have set up a low-power transmitter, broadcast on an unused frequency, and fabricated predictions based on insider knowledge? The short answer is, maybe. For some of the events. The water main, for instance, someone with knowledge of the town's aging infrastructure could have made an educated guess. The resignation of a town clerk, maybe someone knew about a personal issue before it became public. These are explainable, if unlikely. But 3 things nobody has been able to explain. 1. The collision on Route 83. The broadcast didn't just predict an accident, it described the specific vehicles involved, the direction they were traveling, and the fact that one driver would walk away uninjured while the other would be airlifted to Lubbock with a shattered pelvis. That level of specificity rules out a lucky guess. You don't guess a shattered pelvis. 2. The technical nature of the signal. Gerald Fenn, the ham radio operator, attempted to triangulate the source of the broadcast using directional antennas. He told investigators that the signal appeared to originate from multiple directions simultaneously, which, in his words, shouldn't be possible for a single-point transmission. He said it was as if the broadcast was coming from everywhere and nowhere. Fenn had 30 years of experience with radio equipment. He had no explanation. 3. The voice itself. Dale Whitfield sent copies of his recordings to a friend at a community college in Odessa who had audio engineering experience. That friend noted something strange in the waveform analysis. The voice exhibited no natural breath patterns. No pauses for inhalation. No variation in cadence. It spoke in perfectly uniform intervals, almost metronomic. He told Whitfield it sounded synthesized, but in 2003, consumer-grade text-to-speech technology didn't sound like a real human voice. Whatever was producing this voice was either a real person with extraordinary vocal control, or something else entirely. Now let's talk about the final broadcast, because this is where Hargrove stopped being a curiosity and became something darker. Russell Boyette was 57 years old, a retired pipeline worker who lived alone on a property about 6 miles east of town. He was known around Hargrove but wasn't particularly close to anyone. He kept to himself. He had no known enemies, no ongoing disputes, no serious health conditions on record. On May 14, 2003, The Voice on 94.3 described what it called an ending. It said that Russell Boyette would be found dead in the cab of his truck on the morning of May 19, parked on the access road behind the elementary school. The voice said the cause of death would be carbon monoxide poisoning. It said the engine would still be running when the body was discovered. Dale Whitfield panicked. For the first time, he went to the Hargrove County Sheriff's Office. He brought his recordings. He told them what had been happening for weeks. Deputy Marcus Horendane took the report but later admitted he didn't take it seriously. He described Whitfield as agitated but not credible. No one contacted Russell Boyett. On the morning of May 19, a school custodian arriving early found a brown 1994 Ford F-150 parked on the access road behind Hargrove Elementary. The engine was running. Inside the cab, slumped against the driver's side window, was Russell Boyett. He was dead. The county coroner ruled the cause of death as carbon monoxide poisoning. There were no signs of foul play. No note was found. The death was classified as either accidental or self-inflicted, and the case was closed within 2 weeks. After May 19, the broadcast stopped. Completely. 94.3 FM went silent and stayed silent. The FCC was notified in June of 2003 after Dale Whitfield filed a formal interference complaint. An investigator was reportedly dispatched to the area in August. The investigation focused on identifying the source of the unauthorized broadcasts. Equipment sweeps were conducted. Interviews were taken. And then, according to every available record, the case was closed with no findings. No source was identified. No responsible party was named. The file, if it still exists, has never been made public through any FOIA request. Multiple attempts by independent researchers in the years since have been met with either silence or form letter denials stating no responsive documents could be located. Dale Whitfield left KHRV in late 2003. He moved to New Mexico and reportedly never worked in radio again. Connie Alvarez remained in Hargrove but refused to discuss the broadcasts in any public setting. Gerald Fenn, the ham radio operator, died in 2011. Before his death, he gave a brief interview to a paranormal research blog in which he said something that has stayed with me. He said, "I've been listening to radio signals for most of my life. I know what a human broadcast sounds like. I know what interference sounds like. I know what skip sounds like. What came through on 94.3 didn't sound like any of those things. It sounded like something that already knew. Something that already knew." The recordings Dale Whitfield made have never been made publicly available in their entirety. Fragments have circulated in niche forums since the mid-2010s, but their authenticity has never been independently verified. The original cassettes are believed to still be in Whitfield's possession, though he has declined all requests to share them. So where does that leave us? We have a series of broadcasts on an unassigned frequency, predicting specific local events with uncanny accuracy, culminating in the narration of a man's death days before it occurred. We have a signal that couldn't be traced, a voice that didn't breathe, and a federal investigation that produced no answers and then disappeared. We have a small town that collectively decided it was easier to forget than to understand. And we have Russell Boyett, a quiet man who lived alone, who died exactly the way a disembodied voice said he would, on the exact day, in the exact place, in the exact manner. Was this an elaborate and deeply cruel hoax by someone with technical expertise and intimate knowledge of Hargrove's residents? Was it a psychological operation, a test of some kind, run by an entity with resources beyond those of a small-town prankster? Was it something we don't have a framework to explain, a glitch in causality, a signal from somewhere that doesn't follow the rules we think we understand? Or is the most disturbing possibility the simplest one, that someone made Russell Boyett's death happen to match the broadcast, and that the voice on 94.3 wasn't predicting the future at all, it was writing it? Hargrove is still there. The traffic light still blinks. KHRV went off the air permanently in 2009. And 94.3 FM, in that part of West Texas, remains unassigned to this day. What do you think really happened in Hargrove? Leave your theory below.